We're live.
Hello, everyone. Oh my goodness. I'm very excited. We have such a special guest, but let's first go back. My name is Victoria L. You have my sister Maggie, and then you have, I'm sorry, what'd you say? You say hello to the people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So our other sister Tanya, she had a conflict, so she couldn't be here, but she gives her love as well. And then Maggie, you're going to tell us who we have today.
Yes, today we have Jeffrey and Jessica Patton. I met him a few months ago at work, and he was just a great spirit. And he was telling me about his wife, and I was like, oh my gosh, y'all are a young married couple in love the Lord. Like, I need y'all to come on our podcast. And he said, okay, I'll let my wife know. And so they are here to tell us a little bit about their story. We're single and we're learning, and we can glean wisdom and learn from you guys, and just want to hear about your story and your experience. So maybe if you would introduce yourselves and then tell us a little bit about your story.
How did you take it?
Okay. Hey, y'all. Jeffrey and Jessica, we met July 2014. I was actually hosting a fish fry at my apartment after work for one of my frat brothers' birthdays. And I texted my homegirl and I said, hey, I'm frying fish, pull up. And she said, hey, is it cool? I got some friends with me in town. Is it cool they come too? I said, yeah, of course. And so I get there from work. Mind you, at the time, I'm working in the steel plant. So I'm filthy, but I don't really have time to get fully clean. I only have time to just, make sure hand, face, shirt, all that is clean or whatever. I put an apron on to cook or whatever. And Crystal is our friend. She gets there, and right behind her walks in Jessica. And I look at her and I was like, yeah, I wish I would have took a shower. And we didn't have any conversations that night. I asked her, she actually used the restroom, and that was about it. Like that was the extent of our conversation, but I knew that I wanted to talk to her. Fast forward several months later, I'm sitting at work and just scrolling through social media, and she posts that she was running on this trail that I used to go fishing at often. And so I commented on it and said, hey, that's my fishing spot. And it started a conversation, and she ain't been able to get rid of me since, basically.
So that's your quick story.
Right.
You can't have any conversation. Jessica, what's your point?
Well, you know how there's those books that be like one half his side, then hers. But no, then they'll be totally different. But no, so we went to the University of Alabama, but the summer I never took classes, but I just wanted to go see my friends. So I drove down, and they were like, oh, we're gonna go over this Alpha's house. He's frying fish. I'm like, I don't want to go. And they were like, well, it'll be fun. I'm like, but we just ate. And then I was like, but I don't like Alpha. Like it was just, it went downhill. And then I was
already struck out at that point.
Like I was like, but I was outnumbered.
She already ate and she didn't like Alpha, so
yeah. But I was outnumbered, so hesitantly went on in, and really, I probably did speak, but I did not speak being rude. But we probably said hey, but I don't remember doing anything.
And that's what I'm saying. We didn't have a conversation. Is what I'm saying.
We played spades. And the one thing he said to me, somebody lost their phone. He asked me to get up out the seat, but I didn't think anything of it. The fish, did I even eat? I didn't eat because we had just had cheddar, so I didn't do anything. And then I remember that he had told he and some of the guys they were gonna like go out to the bars. Mm-hmm. And we did follow each other on social media just because you follow everybody at UA campus. And I remember like maybe a couple days he tweeted something like, I think I found my wife this weekend or something. Yeah. And I remember being like, keep scrolling like, oh, I wonder who we met at the bar. And just kept on going. Like, not thinking nothing about it. It was and then he would message and I didn't know I'd be like, oh, that's a mistake. He probably didn't mean to send that to me until that day at the park. I'm like, oh, he's actually responding to my story or whatever Snapchat used to call them. And then I think that we Snapchatted for a little bit, but I feel like I said something like, oh yeah, I'll just text you after Bama plays LSU. It's like November 2014. And I sent him my number. He sent me his, but he always says, like, I was like, you said you would text me. I didn't want to be that guy. So he just waited for like 3 days.
It wasn't 3 days. It was like a day and a half. I couldn't even watch the game for. I was like, hey, she really ain't gonna text me.
When I gave you the number, I was still on campus, but I watched the game with my mom at home. So I was like, I know it was the same day.
I was home too.
But that was funny.
Wait, what year were y'all in school? What year were y'all?
So I was doing my victory lap, and she was in her true senior year.
Okay.
True senior victory lap. You tell people what that means. We know, but some people,
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So I was in my 5th year, or my second senior year, as I like to call it, or my victory lap. And she was, she's the smart one. She was in her true senior year.
So hold on, you're an Alpha. Are you Greek as well?
No.
Okay, interesting. So you dated somebody who's Greek? Oh, and you're non-Greek. All right. I'm sorry.
It happens.
It does happen.
That's why I was like, I ain't about that life. But
right.
No, I love them all. Shout out to Ken.
Right, yeah.
I have so many that now it's all family, like the whole line. I can call, it don't matter, they're always there. And half of them were my wedding. So but it definitely changed from the beginning to the end. It's just funny. But then we started dating. Yeah, that last senior year.
We were on our first date, November 25th, 2014.
Wait a minute. Did you write this down?
Huh?
Do you have notes? Like, did you write this down?
No. Sometimes we think about all the times that even though we were in college and we had no idea who each other were,
right?
We were in the same place. So we just remember, like, our first date was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But our first official date. So
we have a different.
I thought the first date.
What do y'all define dating?
So
I want to ask them what their definition was. Okay. What's your definition of dating?
Keep in mind, if you're a broke college student.
Huh?
Maggie?
So my definition of dating is
as a broke college student. I want to just throw that part in.
So dating is you're not in a relationship. You're just talking and getting to know somebody. You're dating them.
Okay, Miss Victoria.
Okay, well, to be honest, when I was, the seasons change. So now at my ripe age of 37, dating means it's me and you. That's just, if I'm dating you, that means that we're getting closer to being exclusive. But the thing, unfortunately, since things are different, you can date multiple people and it'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That's where but back then, I'm dating you, you date me, you know what it is. They know.
Yeah.
But do they know? That's the issue we've learned. Do they know? Because we're assuming they don't really know.
They don't. So
maybe at the time we weren't on the same page, because I define dating when y'all ride together and one person pays for the other. So it's very simple. That's a date. Okay.
So in all fairness, what I thought was my first invitation to a date was, so being an Alpha, we had block seating or whatever at the stadium. And so I invited her to join me at block seating or whatever. And I thought that was like our first time, hanging out. I thought that was a date. She quickly let me know it wasn't a date. But we did have our first official date where I then, I said, okay, well, I got to make up for that. So I show up. I went and cleaned out my car or whatever, which that was a big thing at the time, being, 21 years old, 22 years old. I went and cleaned out my car or whatever, and I put on a blazer and some loafers and everything.
Oh, you got fancy.
You had on leggings and a t-shirt.
No, it was not a t-shirt. Don't do me.
It was a t-shirt.
It was a sweater shirt.
It was one of those free t-shirts that you get on campus or whatever. Yeah, she had on one of them. And we went to Alcove to listen to jazz music.
Yeah. Oh. We have different. You'll find you have different memories of recollections of things, because when I went to that football game that he says was our first date, look, I brought a friend. I told one of my homegirls, my roommate, look, shout out to Kim, she was in my wedding as well. I said, hey, I gotta go sit with these alphas at this football game. I already had tickets. Like, he didn't pay for the ticket. I already had the ticket.
Oh,
so I said,
already on campus, so I couldn't drive.
Right? That's what I said.
So how was it a date?
Yeah.
And then a date, like, okay, the stadium, let me give you this other side. The stadium, first of all, you don't have one-on-one connection. It's everybody and their mama in the room. So if we not like this, getting to know each other, I don't know how I feel about that being a date, but okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
But ultimately, we do agree.
Though. Jessica, he was trying to show you off because he done came and invited you
Okay,
to the Alpha
we just
Block.
big. That is
So
big.
I'ma just get the other flip side of that real quick, you know.
Well, I had
big.
decided going without my homegirl. And I remember being like, oh Lord, how is this gonna go? But it was all right.
So did she feel like a third wheel?
No, because we talked so much, and we lived together. So even when the game was over, I was like, all right, have a good day. And I walked back with her.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, in the outhouse over there, I live over there. Y'all have a good one. I just remember not thinking anything of it, but I wasn't. But
it's amazing how men and women feel. It's amazing how men and women say things. He cleaned the car. He got fancy. Come on.
Our as friends, even though it was more intent in the friendship, but I just thought that wasn't a date. My bad.
It's all good. It all worked out.
They're married, so it worked out. Yeah.
So how did we get to that next date? So we went to the football game. She did not even realize it was a date.
So I went by her dorm that Monday, and we hung out, watched TV or whatever, talked for a little while. And I said, hey, I want to take you out for real. I want to go to this spot. It's cool. They play jazz music. She was telling me that, oh yeah, my brother and my dad really like jazz music. My granddad really like, and she was just telling me about the family and everything. And so it was decided then that we were going to the jazz bar to listen to music.
Now that's a date.
I do remember clarifying, like texting, hey, is this a date? And I think he said, well, because I wasn't sure.
And
clarification.
Yeah, she did, and I was kind of glad that she did because I was
now I know.
I was in the middle of cleaning out my car, and I was like, "Shoot, I hope it is." You know what I'm saying? So
I think he said something like, I mean, if you're not ready for a real date, like we don't have to. I was like, oh, it could be a date. I just needed you to know.
Yeah.
I just needed to know. And still, my outfit was a date of words.
I mean, because we talked about this on the show before, how interpretations get lost. So you know, I'll give you that. You said, "Excuse me, what are we doing?" We going
explicitly, like I need it clearly stated.
Right. But he was very intentional.
Yeah, he was
intentional, especially since he did all these things, but he was intentional. Like, I'm hitting you up, like, look, this is what we're about to do. He planned it. So it was, he didn't let it just go with the flow. He was like, no, this is what I want. This is what we're going to do. And this is where we're going. So kudos to you.
And then went home for Thanksgiving, hung out that weekend, and then we went to church together for the first time that Sunday. And then we just were inseparable ever since.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was like first date, been together ever since.
Yeah,
even though we didn't become like boyfriend, girlfriend, like the
remember,
title,
like the official conversation or whatever.
I never dated one person at a time, so it was like, I'll give you attention, and then until you kind of don't deserve it no more. And then it was
honestly, I mean, we really didn't have time to date anybody else. We literally spent all our free time together.
But this is
this is like last semester of college. So I mean, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it just clicked. It just clicked, you know.
Wow. So what did the conversation, how did that go when you said, hey, are we exclusive? Are we together? We a couple now. I just want to know.
The first time that conversation came up, I asked her or whatever. I was like, so what do you think about, you know, having a conversation about, you know, being official and everything? And she said that she wasn't ready for it. And I respected it. I didn't like it, but I respected it. You know what I mean? And then it made me nervous to ask again because I was like, dang, she said at that time, I hope she ain't you know what I'm saying, turn me down again. But that summer when after we graduated, we were both back at home. I went to pick her up from my parents' house. We went to dinner, and this is a little lame, but I wrote her a circle yes note and didn't say anything to her when she got in the car. I just passed it to her like it was middle school or something.
It's like check.
And she, I want to say she still got the note upstairs somewhere, possibly.
But it worked though.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
I do still have
Whatever. Oh my
Jessica,
goodness.
why did you say no the first time? What was going on in your head?
We want to know.
Mm.
Now, I don't remember the exact conversation, but when I think back to that time, I think that I was still trying to get to know him better, because previously I'd had situations where you end up with somebody you really don't know who they are, right? And I'm like, I don't want to bring you around. I'm just trying to figure this thing out, taking it a little bit slower. But I do realize at the end of the day, he was a good person. Is a good person. I continued to get to know him better until it was like, we could be very committed. Like, I don't know. I just thought that it was maybe a smarter thing to do, to kind of take some time, like get to know. I think that I had met some of his family before, some of, maybe not all the extended, right? But I had met some just to get a clue on who made Jeff who he was before deciding to partner up. But I will say I was always the more reluctant person to take it to the next level. I don't know. I grew up with my own goals, not thinking about marriage or a man. So it was like, no, we can't get married. Like, no, we're not getting engaged. Like, it was like, slow your roll. I got stuff to do. Like, it was just, so that's why I think I always was more reluctant than he was. Because he was like, you could have been my girlfriend day one. I was like, yeah, that was gonna be. I had to take my time.
Oh, I'm loving this. I love your honesty, because I'm telling you, no, for real, because I think a lot of women were like that, and the fact or are like that, I should say, men as well are like that, but it doesn't necessarily pan out to be you're married right now at your age that you're married at. You understand what I'm saying? People are still single, like, excuse me, I chose my career, and I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I think that it also depends on like my mom and dad got married at 30, 31. So I always was like, oh, I'm not even like, I got time. Like, that's what I used to think.
It makes sense.
At 21. Like, I was like, I'm in college. Like, why does this, and even finishing optometry school, it was always one of my goals. Like, I want to be a doctor. That was going to be it. Like, I'm not going to get married until way after that. Like, I'm not thinking about it. And then one day I had done small group, life group and stuff. And I realized that putting those dates, they were just like arbitrary. Like, I had to follow God's plan, not my own. But my plan previously was I was going to finish being, I had told him all this stuff. I'm like, I'm going to be a doctor, then I'm going to have my condo life. Then I'm going to have my townhome life. And then I'm going to have my married in the house life. Like, I just had pushed it off. I had pushed it off.
But you see what happened? God felt off otherwise.
And he was like, you don't have to do that. And I was like, hey, don't try to distract me. Like, but then one day God was like, come on, man. He right there.
I think it's very important that you listen, audience. Myself, whoever, listen when God is telling you something. Hey, I'm only going to show you so many times, because what would have happened if you decided to say, I'm just not going to listen to God and I'm just going to go about my business and you could be, where a lot of people are still wanting that to happen. So,
So Jeff, in that instance, or over that time frame, right, where she was like, I'm not trying to get married. I got my goals and I got my plan. How did that impact you in dating her and your still pursuit for her?
Yeah, so it didn't knock my pursuit for her. Like when she says that, I tweeted that after I met her, like, I genuinely meant that and everything. It took a while though for me to realize where I was coming from. So just a little background on me. So I lost my father when I was 15. And 15 is a very rough age for a young man to lose his father and everything. And I had a very involved dad, very good dad, very loving husband to my mom and everything. And so, I realized later, through therapy and everything, I realized that a lot of what I missed, I wouldn't have again until I settled down and had my own family and was able to experience that with my own, you know what I mean? Like I would never have that father-son relationship in that sense with my dad anymore. The next father-son relationship that I would truly have would be between me and, Lord willing, if someday I have a son also. And so I had to realize that just as much as she was, running away from it, I was rushing to it, because I remember when this was like the same year that we graduated. I was like, yeah, we got to do this, and the third. We have to be thinking about marriage. We have to be thinking about, where we want to live, where we want to settle down. You know what I'm saying? And she was just like, what are you even talking about? Like, she was looking at me like I was crazy. And then, so this was when we were 22, 23. We got married at roughly, we'll just say 26, 27, because we turned that year. And I remember that first year of marriage being like, yeah, I couldn't have did this at 23. Yeah, this, and so similarly to how she had to stop and listen to God and say, and wait for God to tell her that, it's okay to not do those things first or whatever. I'm sending you this husband. It's okay to do that. I had to listen to God and him saying, look, I'm sending you this woman. I've already revealed to you who your wife is going to be, but you just got to wait for my cue to go ahead and take that step. And so, but, it was a little bit difficult at times too, because like when we graduated, I graduated that Saturday. I went to work that Monday morning, and I'd already started working in my career, and so I was just working nonstop. I was moved out on my own and everything. However, she was in school, and she was still very much so under her parents, and I was like, how a lot of young adults get, hey, I'm grown. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't got nobody telling me what to do. I got my own house. I don't need none of that or whatever. Yeah. And it's like having to navigate that and realizing that we were really growing together all at the same time. We were just growing differently, but we were growing together in adulthood at the same time, even though our day by days look different.
Wow. You know what's crazy? Like, I'm listening to y'all, and it's so interesting to me how sometimes, and I'm just talking stereotypically, not, and nothing is ever by the book, but you had the way when you were like this, what are you doing? Like, she was like, man, please, I ain't worried about that. I got stuff to do. We hear that more stereotypically from the other way around. Yeah. Where the woman is like, oh, well, excuse me, we have to do this. And the man is like, I'm not right now. I'm not ready. You need to chill out. Just hold on a little bit longer. So I think that's I just love the fact that this is so different. You know what I mean? And when it works, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, y'all. And you know what? Y'all seem like such a sweet couple. Like, y'all have sweetness. That's what I'm saying. Some people, all of our couples on our show have been amazing. And every couple brought some kind of level of who they, their aura or their essence of what the couple is. And, just listening to you, I'm like, y'all just so sweet. Y'all just, it's a sweet little couple.
So Jessica, how did you know that Jeff was the one? Like, we often ask that, and he clearly knew the first weekend he met you.
Yep, it's coming.
When did it become clear to you?
Well, when he pushed our relationship with God individually and together, then I was like, that was something different. It was like, okay, now we got to be aligned. Like, not just being equally yoked, but continuously equally yoked. It was like, it was always hard. Sometimes it's hard to get a guy to go to church with you. He was like, oh, we're going to church? Oh, okay. Like, he was like excited. And I'm like, we weren't even the same denomination. So I was like, he was going to Catholic church, like to mass, and then turn around and come to church with me after. And I was like, nah. Like, it was like, that was just, it was different. It was like, okay, this is where we going. Because like, if you believe in the man being the leader of your household, well, you need a God-fearing man if you're going to believe in that. So I was like, oh, okay, if you want to read Job, we can study Job. Like, it was like, it was just like, okay, this is different. So that I started to click that this is someone that was going to be powerful. Or for me, when I was ready to actually realize that I could be his wife, that was somewhere between optometry school, and that was more of a focus on, he's prepared as a husband, but am I prepared as a wife? But that was through like the life. That was good to be like, okay, well, maybe I'm putting on these timetables for stupid reasons. Like, at the end of the day, having a spouse is one of God's gifts. Like it's,
That's
it's
right.
something that, yeah, I could go and I could see eyeballs all day. And I like that about God. But one day you're going to retire from that. And I'm hoping not to retire from being married, right? I'm hoping that, till death do you part.
So that question you just said, or that statement about, was I prepared or ready to be a wife? What did that look like for you? What did that preparation and that train of thought, and what did you have to do?
Well, I tell you what it wasn't. I'm still not the best cook, so it wasn't all that stuff. I don't know. He is a much better chef, and I'm doing better at compromising and remembering that I need to cook. I just remembering that I need to cook, like contribute that way. But it's really not my strong suit.
At least you know that. These men these days is out cooking women. So
my food is nasty. It's that I actually don't like cooking, so I don't like. He'd be like, oh yeah, no, this was good. I'm like, really? It was just edible. But he'll be like, not like it's nasty. It's just, he is one of those people that, like today we had dinner and I'm like, you just made this up on the spot and it tastes great. I have to like research for weeks. Like, ooh, let me see how I'm going to cook a Brussels sprout. He just did it today. And was like, I put these beans and I'm like, what? Like, he just throws them together. But anyway, so it wasn't that. I didn't do like a whole bunch of domestic things. Like, I really just was like, basically growing myself, like being prepared to live on my own, being prepared to, help navigate, because at the end of the day, it's a journey through life. So really just trying and working on communication. That's a big thing. Like, okay, even when dating, like, okay, communicating when you're upset, expectations. It was just one of the things that had to be like, because I'm one to shut down and not to talk when I'm upset, but it was like, you can't do that. You have to speak.
Good, because you felt like the relationship was worth me doing that. See, that's the thing. Because you can still, go into your, I'm not gonna talk, so I'm just gonna retreat. But you felt like it was worth it, so you did it. So, and you see that you got the reward. So that's amazing.
Oh, that is. It is. So she prepared herself. I'm taking note. I'm listening.
Me too, girl. Me too.
She said I was not about that domestic life.
Hello, but we do.
I'm true to myself. I'm really good at cleaning.
That's what I was about to say. I was just about to ask you, since you don't cook, do you clean? Because some people, you're in charge of cleaning it up while I prepare it.
Yeah, I know. I clean, but yeah, he clean too. That's why I'd be like, sometimes I'll be like, what do I do?
It was a little bit different though, pre-pandemic, when I was traveling every week. And so it's like I wasn't really working from home as much. So literally our apartment in Sandy Springs might as well have been her apartment, because she was there a lot more than I actually was. And so she had to do those things a lot more than she had to cook for herself during the week. I would try to help her with like meal prepping on Sundays or whatever. And I would try to make sure on Saturdays when I came home, if we didn't have like a bunch of other plans, to try to do some deep clean, vacuum and all that. But overall, like she really carried that, so.
So another question. When you guys were dating, did your friends, were there any friends like, okay, boom, that they were like, I testify with you and say, yes, I can see y'all together? Or were there something like, I don't know about that, that's what I just want to know.
No, not for me at all. Like pretty much, I remember all the first 3 people, and I'm gonna shout them out, that I talked to about Jessica, because I knew that they knew her or whatever. Like this is prior to us actually dating. I asked Ron Coleman, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she's like really smart, definitely one of her." I asked my best friend Harold. He was in our wedding also. I asked him, Harold Nicholson, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Shooter's gonna shoot or whatever." You know what I'm saying? Like. And I asked my homeboy Lando, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, she real cool, man. She real cool." So I had smart, shooter's gonna shoot, and she real cool. So I was like, "Yeah, I mean, might as well." And then even after we were together, I never had anybody question or say, I don't know if you want to, you know what I'm saying, talk to her or whatever. Like never had anything like that.
No, I never had anything. No, yeah, I never had anyone say like you shouldn't talk to Jeff. But on the flip side, because I know you asked for friends if there was anyone who was like big supporters, even while we were dating, there was one couple and they got married maybe a couple of years before us. But we started dating at the same time.
Oh yeah, Avery.
Yeah, they're pastors now.
Yeah.
We started dating the same time, so we went on our double dates, and the boys would talk, the girls would talk. We're supposed to link up with them and do something like this with them soon.
Awesome.
And they were people that were like, okay, we're sticking this all out, let's work on this, or we would have like even during the pandemic, let's have a FaceTime like couples retreat, like just kind of hang out, or and they live in Texas, and we still like try to do stuff to. That was someone like that we started together in college, and here we are on the other side, both married, both really active with families and stuff. So that was one couple that we started with that we that kind of rallied around us, and then we had another couple that we didn't necessarily start with day one, but also someone on his line, Andre and Dee. We did life with them, especially real heavy when we were in Birmingham.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. It was still now to the point where we sad that when we do come to Birmingham, we always meet up in the parking lot just to say, hey, it's like that. Like he's talking about, I got a football league for the neighborhood. Dang, I wish I was in Atlanta. I could be on your football team. Like we know.
It's like when you have like really good friends and everything, that like it doesn't matter how old you get, they still make you feel like little kids. Like all of my line brothers make me feel that way. Still make me, even my older brother, who is one of my best friends, like they just make you feel like little kids. And so we go on the phone and say, "Ooh, man, did you see this?" and everything, and we'll talk for hours about stuff.
Yeah, but
everybody were big supporters.
But we got to have like during COVID, it was like always different couples. Like, okay, well, Friday night, especially during that 2020 stretch when there was nothing else to do. We on FaceTime, like having dinner, FaceTime dinner dates, like couple, double dates with people all across
happy hours,
the state, or excuse me, the country, just trying to like link up and make sure, hey, how y'all doing? I know y'all stuck together because we stuck together too.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, it's like I wake up and then, especially I had 6 weeks where you couldn't do an elective procedures or surgery, so I wasn't working, and I was doing nothing. But those 6 weeks, he was still working, and it was like I'm waking up and I'm like, "Hey, will you watch TV?" He was like, "No,
I gotta work."
I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna plan this for tonight." Like it was those 6 weeks were interesting.
Yeah,
but we have a lot of good support.
So you talked about friends. What about family? We're both sides.
Oh, my mom was welcoming. What she call you, Jeffy Pooh? My mom was welcoming of Jeff on day one. Now my dad was a little bit harder to win over. A little bit.
But I get it though. Like
I was the big daddy's girl. So.
Yeah, and well, it's not even just that. It's like, this is somebody like in many ways, I was somebody that he's like entrusting one of his most prized possessions with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The first time Jeff was my daddy, like, okay.
He fussed at me. It was December in Alabama and it was like 58 degrees and I had on a sweater and he was like, "Hey, where your coat at?" Whatever.
And he never,
it's in the car.
He never let it go. He's like, "What kind of man you with?" First of all,
right. It was like the worst offense. But
he didn't let that go for 2 years. He probably still remembers it now. Like, Jeff, you don't wear no coat.
Right. But at the same time, too, though, I mean, me and him, just as much as, and I don't want to come out weird, because it makes sense in my head, but just as much as I was intentional about dating his daughter, I was intentional about building a bond with him as well. So like, I remember we probably had been dating for like a year, and I remember pulling him to the side and saying, "Hey, I want us to, hang out. I want us to, and such. And then both of us started playing golf around the same time. So we started going to the golf course together and everything. Just because, like, one, I wanted him to know I was for real. I wanted him to know I wasn't just some knucklehead or whatever. And two, it's like, you know, in many ways, we're pretty old fashioned. I was like, if I'm courting his daughter, I need to, you know, certain things as a man that you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And so you're supposed to go to the house. You're supposed to walk to the front door. You're supposed to do all this and the third, have her home at a respectable time and all this and the third. And so I was very intentional about making sure I was doing that also.
Nice. Okay, so let me ask you this about friendships. Because we asked I think on one of our last shows, we had an older lady who's like our mother. We asked her how she felt about women and men and women being friends. Meaning, like, if you, as the man or the husband, have female friends, and how that relates to you as the wife. Like, can you have male friends? Can he have female friends? I need to know what that looks like for you two.
When we were dating, I remember telling Jeff, you got a lot of female friends. Because he does. But Jeff is really popular. And I was really low key. He's really well known. He won't say the word popular, but he is really well known.
Yeah.
And
that's fair. I get it. That's fair.
But anybody I asked when I was trying to date Jeff, do you know Jeff? Oh yeah, G5, you know him. If he asked people, he had to go find people who knew me.
Yeah.
I was on low key. He was saying, do you sure you go to University of Alabama? I've never seen you. I was like, yeah, I had. But ultimately, I think it's fine. I mean, I have male friends, female friends. He does too. But I do think that while we're married, we haven't had any weird call. I think only one time we had went out, everybody had a little bit too much fun. I remember waking up. Remember one of your friends called? Remember we were asleep?
Oh, talking about Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was out with us. We were trying to make sure we all made it home because it was a crazy night.
Yeah.
But I was like totally fine. I was like, that's funny. She woke both of us up like, y'all good.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think anything crazy. I mean,
no.
But we have respectable friends. We do have good friends.
Not only that, we are very respectable, of each other. Like,
right.
For example, because I mean, Jessica has several guy friends that she grew up with or known for a long time, but she's also not gonna be on FaceTime with them at 11 o'clock at night. Just like I'm not gonna be on FaceTime with any of my homegirls at late. I'm not gonna go to their house and just hang out, just the two of us, because that to me is not respectable. You know what I mean? And so most of it is like her guy friends over the course of us being together have kind of migrated to being friends with me also, as well as most of my female friends have migrated to being friends with her also. So
besides work, we currently don't have any friends that don't know each other.
Yeah, Maggie's my only work friend. So
but even I have my staff, and Jeff knows because I come home and talk. So he knows all about them, and he had been up to one other location. So he's able to meet some. But in terms of hanging out, they're all women anyway, but hanging out, no. So it's just not, I don't know. But I haven't, I'm not very social. I haven't met a new friend. If I met a new friend, they there. I haven't met a new male friend. I met them through him. I can't think of a brand or work. Yeah, like a work colleague, but I haven't. So we haven't. We respect each other. That might be it.
That must be. That is it.
Because I'm thinking why would anybody do that? But
people do it all the time.
Yeah,
they do it all.
Yeah, no new friends. You heard Drake.
Right.
I mean, well, you said it. No new friends. And I think you hit it on the nail when you said it's about respect. It's about respect. You respect each other. You allow people in your circle who respects boundaries. Like certain things you would do and certain things you wouldn't do.
Right.
Yeah. Like he said, no one's calling. I had a friend call me 11:30. I'm like, oh, what's wrong? At the time, even with the time change, I'm like, what's wrong? They were like, oh, yet. I was like, yeah.
And
They were
then
like,
too, a
well,
lot of times people
we just needed
forget
help. I
that
was like, okay.
we're an hour. So
That's it.
like both of us being from Birmingham,
We got
a lot of times people forget that we have an hour difference. So to them, it'll just be 8:30, but us is 9:30. And it's like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to call you
what's
after
wrong?
9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we really don't have an issue with that. Like you said, comes down to respect.
Yeah. So how did the parents mesh? When your parents met his parents, how did that mesh? I'm sure it worked clearly, but I just want to know about that story.
When they met at your birthday?
Yeah, it was like we had a birthday dinner to what was that, Kobe or something like that. Hibachi, yeah. But it was fine. Everybody just ate, got full, and got along. Like it wasn't really you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't really anything different.
His mom being in medical field and his aunt and both aunts all working at the same place.
Both of our families really pretty much primarily
worked at UAB hospital. So it was like, okay. They just have something to talk about.
So it was pretty simple.
It wasn't anything like ridiculous. I think that I still think like our moms probably talk about. I don't think my dad, he might be one of those, he may not have no female friends because he may not call you. But my mama calls you. Like they call each other, but I'm like, I don't think they communicate through my dad. My dad just gets told what to do.
Yeah.
But no, I think it is. And then my brother, they accepted my brother as like one of the other cousins. His brother, my brother here are just hanging out, or even if we have something like his brother has kids. So for like the niece or nephew or something, then my brother, he can come, like we can hang out. So it's pretty like blended.
Yeah. I mean, we don't do everything together. It's
we
still
had our very first Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, we had a blended Thanksgiving.
It was at our house, so that means everyone had to come to Georgia.
Yeah.
And then there was like a lot of. I have a smaller extended family than he does, so my entire extended family came, and then the household family he grew up in with the kids too. They all came, and it was blended, baby. But and I remember going in a little nervous just because I'm like, oh my God! First of all, COVID is a lot of folks, and it's starting to get cold. And we got like a 3-month-old. And then my second thought was, Lord, please let these folks get along. Because you never know when because things are good when it's all cute about work. But then you never know who's gonna say something.
But it was everything.
It was like really good.
It was honestly one of the best Thanksgivings I've probably ever had.
It was so good that like his mom, my grandma, like was like, had a really good time. I was like, I was nervous, girl. I ain't know you were gonna have a good time. Because she stayed with us, and I was like, and then like his mom was like, I actually, I had a good time. Like I thought it was gonna be a lot too, but we made it. So that's why I said I think it blends well.
That's a blessing. I'm telling you.
That part is that really is.
It is because you have so many, especially when you have so many people with very intense personalities. To say a lot of families are like that, but you can't choose your family. So I'm glad it worked out for both of y'all. I'm really happy about that. Maggie, are you ready to ask your question?
Well, I wanted one more question before that one.
Oh, no, you can't.
How did y'all get engaged? What's this engagement story? Because we get to marriage, dating, marriage. How did this
So I bought the ring the day before Thanksgiving 2017, and I hadn't asked her dad yet or whatever. And so we get to her parents' house for Thanksgiving dinner. Dinner wasn't ready, and so I just happened to you know what I'm saying? It's a Black family Thanksgiving. Dinner wasn't ready.
They're gonna never be ready.
Right. And so I pulled her dad to the side, and I had that conversation with him. Whoop. He was like, "So, does she know you got a ring?" And I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "You been telling you bought a ring, and you don't even know if she gonna say yeah." I was like, "She gonna say yeah." But then so like actually I'll take a step back too. So getting the ring, shout out to Sterling and Javea, who were two of her very close friends, still close friends. from optometry school, and I had them do some recon to figure out ring size and what she wanted and everything. She had no idea what was going on.
Mhm.
And so they were sending it back to me like, okay, she want this, and it needs to look like that. And I was like, bet. And so shout out to my cousin. He worked at a jewelry store in Birmingham. And so he helped me, get everything situated. And then she didn't realize it, but she was actually planning her own proposal.
Oh.
Because we disguised it as we were having a Christmas sweater party. Like the two of us were having a Christmas sweater party. And so we was like, we can just do it at the clubhouse at my apartment, and we could have this and that and the third. What you think? And she was like, oh, yeah. And then like, I want this to eat, and it'll be really good to have this and everything. I said, yeah, that'd be cool. Meanwhile, I'm inviting people like, hey, y'all should come to this party just so you know I'm gonna propose or whatever. So cut to get to the party. I say grace over the food once everybody gets there. Of course, it took people a while to get there, and she was like, "Why is he waiting to say grace? Forget them, they ain't here or whatever." But my plan was to say grace, say a few words, and then propose. But people, like, I think the party was supposed to be at like 7:00. People weren't getting there till like 8:30.
That's correct.
And so I'm sitting there, man, what these folks at?
I'm starving.
Or whatever. Yeah, right. She did. And so I said a grace, say a few words, and then one of my line brothers / best friends, Christian Davis, he was holding the ring, and I think he was on FaceTime with your parents. Because they were like somewhere for a bowl game. And then one of my other close friends, Martin, he was on FaceTime with my mom and my grandparents or whatever. But she didn't know that. She thought they were just recording it for like Instagram or whatever. And I proposed. I couldn't really tell if she was crying. I think she was just so in shock that she was like
definitely in shock.
She was like crying and laughing at the same time.
I know all of my hunger went away. I didn't eat the whole night. It was just a shock.
And then boom.
There we are.
Yep.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is called intention.
Yeah.
That thing planned the whole, all the way from when he cleaned out the car, and she still was kind of playing him to the left, and she brought her friend as back up to the meat,
Sometimes it was like, let me go get some water. I might have to leave.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is called intention. And he thought if we have to take it to the Bible, he that find a wife, find a good thing. So that's what he did. And that's, we're grateful for that. I just want to say intention is the word for the show. Men out there, intentional. You understand? You got to be intentional for what you want. And he was scared. He was a little bit like, oh, she gonna tell me no, she might tell me no. Don't matter. She got, especially when her daddy said, why you get the ring? You don't even know what she gonna say. He was confident. He said, it don't matter. She's gonna marry me.
That's crazy.
That's what I said. Shoot or shoot.
You got to, exactly. Shoot or shoot. Boom. Right. All right, Maggie.
So usually when we wrap the show, we want to ask what parting words of wisdom, last things maybe you did not say that you would impart to our audience, right? We have singles, we have married couples, we have everyone of all age that watch and join us. So any last words from both parties?
You can go first.
Okay. I would say going based off of what we talked about and just everything that we've experienced is something that my brother told me when Jessica and I first started dating. He said, y'all are good together and everything, but one thing you got to focus on is just like each other. Don't worry about loving each other. Loving is going to come. He said, just like each other, just be friends, like continue to be friends. And I think it's very important to, when you're in a relationship, to be intentional about investing in and working on that friendship, finding hobbies to do together, finding things that you both enjoy, as well as tapping into each other's hobbies. It's several shows that I probably would have never watched that I sat down and watched with her and actually enjoyed. And she probably would have never gone to the golf course, but she'll come to the golf course and play music and put on one of the golf outfits and everything, and we'll have a good time. But just focus on being friends. That's for people in relationships, but for people who are single, really be intentional about working on yourself. Like I said, I went to therapy. Even though it was while we were dating, I wish if I could go back, I wish I would have went to therapy prior to meeting her, just because I realized through doing that, there was a lot that I had to build on in myself. Like I had based being mature on, or let me take a step back. What I considered maturity was really having dealt with trauma and came up on the other side. And that's not always the maturity that you need. You know what I'm saying? And so, so really work on yourself. You know, a lot of times when you're single, you say that you're working on yourself, but really you're not, you know. Really work on yourself, whether that's being involved in church and get into a small group that's going to help you grow, whether that's going to therapy, whether that's trying new things, whether that's learning new things, you know, really grow yourself, and I guarantee it's going to help.
Okay.
Received.
Miss Jessica.
Right. Okay. So I guess my final words to the single listeners would be to echo what he said, you know, work on yourself and work on your relationship with God, because I still believe that God should be the center of any relationship you want to have outside of him. So, you know, there are plenty of people who are, I'm single, I'm doing me, but they're focusing on work, they're focusing on this. But if it really is he who findeth, then y'all need to figure out who he is. So that was one of the things that was like, I have to take control, because as a child, I went to church, but then I had to be like, what am I going to do as an adult? You know? Then as someone who is dating, always try to put God in the center. If that means y'all doing Bible plans together, reading words together, talking about books together, small groups, something, because he can lead you to that person, but you could easily lose them because you forgot him. Like he's still supposed to be the center of your life. Also communication. And if you do get engaged, premarital counseling with a licensed therapist. Yes, we did the church therapy. We did saving your marriage before it starts. We also,
and that was wonderful too,
did counseling with our parents. It's just trying to do that. But sometimes some churches it's more like, we seen y'all come together. Go ahead, y'all get married. Yeah, we'll do it. But you really do need someone to go through what is his communication style.
Ask the tough
what
question.
Is your communication style? Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about finances. Let's talk about this. Just because we used to leave some of our sessions mad.
Yeah.
We already engaged.
I remember we left one session, had one of the big arguments over some paper towels.
Okay, but y'all know
it was a communication issue.
It's communication, but we tell people, our friends
that was
there,
the
paper
thing.
towel story now.
Yeah.
People who are getting engaged, I'm like, be intentional and communicate, because paper towels. Right.
Exactly.
Rip somebody to shreds over paper towel.
And the whole thing was
toothpaste is a bigger. It used to be like my dad used to say the biggest argument of like his generation of married friends. It was toothpaste. I was like, look, paper towels got us that day.
But the funniest thing about it was that we were essentially arguing the same point.
We were arguing that we cared about each other, but we didn't think the other person was listening.
No. The whole thing was that, so she had bought these decorative paper towels to have in the bathroom whenever guests come over. Well, a couple of my line brothers, a couple other frat brothers that came over to watch the game. So I was like, I'm gonna put these good paper towels under the sink. These folks can use this brownie, and it'll be okay. She came over and she saw, she's like, dang, he didn't like my paper towels, and she was mad, livid about it. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't want them to use up all the paper towels just because it don't make no sense to use those expensive paper towels just on these dudes. No offense if y'all watch.
No, I agree.
But now, as we go through, then the argument sounds stupid.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's heated.
Yeah. And now to this day, like
when I
even
buy
in our
some rice and
house,
potatoes, they be out.
yeah, they be out, and then they go through all of those, and then we put a roll of paper towel, put a roll of brownie in there, and then move forward. But
And then for married, my last tidbit would be to continue to date even while married. Prioritize that relationship. Of course, it's still gonna be, you got to keep God in the center. You got to be figuring out what he wants for y'all, because when we were dating or just talking, he said he would never leave Birmingham. And I was like, I ain't living nowhere. Like, and Atlanta was not on the list either. You just never know where God's gonna bring you in life. You don't know what job you're gonna be, like what friends you think you're gonna be doing life with. When you get separated from, what are you gonna do? So you still need him as the rock. So that would be it.
Well, we receive it. We receive it. And, you know, we always say this, I'm just so grateful that you guys were able to come on the show. It was, like I said, you guys just have a sweetness about you guys, just the presence. Your presence is sweet.
Oh, I thought a roll bounce when you said sweetness.
I did too. That's like a
roll bounce. Yes, not roll bounce, but you know what I'm saying. The sweet.
I got you.
Very sweetness about you guys. It's amazing. You guys said a lot of great things. I like the fact that, you know, everybody can learn from what you're saying. Doesn't matter if they've been married 30 years, 40 years, they're single, if they're newly dating, if they like somebody and they're not sure what to do. You guys made it very clear. So guys, want to say thank you guys for watching. This is The Waiting Game, chapter 35. Don't forget to, you know what to do. Share it, like it, comment, all of that good stuff. We want to thank the Pattons. We're praying that God will successfully carry them to generations and generations of a happy, happy marriage. We love them. We love you guys. And we will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.